G'day folks, back again. This time I'm in a creative world and I've just started a new world, and this is actually really close to spawn. It's a cave with a nice little valley that leads into it, and I was thinking it'd be really pleasant to do some trees lining the valley and make I guess a fairy tale sort of pathway with trees either side. And so it required very little work as far as the foundation goes. Now, if you're not a really confident builder, this would be perfect. There's very little building required, especially in the first option. You're just using trees and plants and water, really. So hopefully this will inspire you. So the first option is a really simple waterfall that comes down into that cave there. But first of all, we just need to do a little bit of groundwork. Fill in a few things. Yeah, that's really not the way it's supposed to work. Anyway, just fill in the sort of the base of the valley. And here I wanted to have some dark oak, but they're not really tall enough for what I wanted, so I've given them a little bit of boost as far as height goes. And I do this quite a bit. So you're pretty much just using the default tree, but giving the trunk a little more length. And I wanted them to be taller. I can't really tell you why. That just seemed like it was the right thing to do. And this is just a really easy way to do that. I was thinking of using spruce for a start, but I feel that dark oak has a bit more of a whimsical feel about it. Just ignore the sound of the zombie dying in the background. And there we go. So the tree does look a lot taller now, and with minimal effort, you just sort of add a little bit extra if you need to. And apart from that, there's also just adding some extra leaves to the crown just to make it look a little bit bigger. And I think really with this sort of thing, don't overthink it, just add as you go. But yeah, you don't need to actually think too hard about it. Because these trees are actually a little bit taller than normal, I've added some leaves part of the way down the trunk as well. Not on all of them, but just a few. And again, don't overthink it, just place the blocks, don't stress. And we'll just see how it looks. Yeah, it's not too bad. Now also, for some reason, I associate vines and overgrown sort of lush things with fairy tale. I don't know why. So I kind of spammed the vines on a lot of the trees, and I ended up sort of changing a few. But yeah, most of the crowns I had to enlarge just because they, as far as I was concerned, they weren't quite large enough. So more vines here, just wanting it to look overgrown and verdant, really. After I'd put this huge amount of vines on most of the trees, I realised that there is another option as well, and that's glowberries. So I ended up actually removing a lot of the vines that were on the trees that I also put glowberries on. I think just because it got a little bit too busy. Because I've been using such an old version of the game up until very recently, I tend to forget to utilise things like glowberries. Yeah, there's so much that you can do, and there's so much I could have done really to make it more lush. Now here I wanted to also use the spore blossom because I wanted the trees to look like they were flowering, or at least had fruit on some of them. I didn't do it on all of them though, because I think it would have been too much. But again, they're beautiful, really, and I love the particle effect that they emit. I think it looks really good. I also put a light at the base of some of these trees that have the spore blossom. It just gives a bit of a glow to the flower, and you've got to have a swing, really. If you're going to have a whimsical fairy tale kind of, forest, you need to have a swing or two. chains are just such a good addition to the game. They really are. As well as, well, trapdoors. They've been around for a long time, but where would we be without the good old trapdoor? Just does so many different things. Just forgetting here that I actually have to be crouching to place it. And there you go. One swing. Really easy. So this is how it ended up looking. I added some archways just for a little bit of extra interest with some lanterns hanging off them. I didn't use a lot of flowers. I tried that and it just looked way too over the top. I like plain colours. And there's the waterfall. So that's a really easy way to add something at the end of the walkway. And the second variation is a little house in that cave. And it looks very simple, that opening there, but gosh, it took me a long time. But I was really happy with how it turned out. I'm not a great interior decorator, but it was fun having a go. Fairly minimal-ish. I like the big fireplace over there. But yeah, I'm happiest with the bedrooms. I think they worked really well. And the banners, you know, looking like sort of throw pillows. I enjoyed doing that. So I was really happy with the bedrooms. Item frames work incredibly well as pictures too. But yeah, this is my favourite bedroom. But I kept the walls stone, and you may not like that. You might like to have a little bit of variation, but I kind of like keeping it all one colour and one sort of texture. And then there's how it looks at night time, which I think it looks the best in the dark, really. You can see all the different lighting. The glowberries look really nice and natural. So you can see that I used mostly ferns and tall grasses. The flowers just looked too busy. It was just too much. But I mean, you could do whatever you like. So that's the end again. And I really hope that I've inspired you. And goodbye from me and from Mr. Creeper, who's taking a stroll in the dark. Bye for now.